my podcasts are like, I don't know. I think everybody's feeling, because we've been kind of bad about consistency. I feel like a lot of podcasts are kind of bad about consistency right now.
Yeah, my podcast too, my murder ones. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, they have been.
And so like I'm like trying to find new things, and I found one that's like recapping and talking about the kissing booth.
That why? What?
And
how
it's
could you?
So bad. Like they're saying it's bad. Like they're talking about how bad it is.
You've seen it, right? You've seen it.
I saw it, but like I saw it years ago, and I remember it being very cringy.
I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect.
This podcast is reminding me how cringy. There's a part of the movie where she just like walks around like in her bra in front of everybody. But then at the beginning of the movie, one of her personality traits was that she was shy and nerdy. And they're like, it's just inconsistent character.
Wait, but isn't that at the party when she's really drunk? I maybe remember too much of this movie.
No, she's like in the locker room.
Oh, in the locker room. Okay. All right. Okay. I do not remember that.
And it's like with all of the boys looking at her. She's like in the boys' locker room.
I got too deep into it there for a second because I'm so sorry. Do we ever expect movies like that to have consistent characterization of...
I think, but it's just like if at the beginning of the movie, this is the nerdy, shy girl.
They're always
and then
like
you
that.
have her... so inconsistent. And then they talk about how like a scene after that has her like trying to give a speech in class and she's like stuttering and like shy, and they're like, which one is it? Which one?
That reminds me of obviously Twilight, because, you know, she's supposed to be this super shy whatever girl, and yet she has so many friends and everybody loves her and wants to ask her out.
Actually though, Bella is like OG demure.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's Mormon coded. And so she's
You're
always
right.
like talking about the clothes that other girls are wearing. And she's like, I would never wear something so revealing. And in the movie, she does the really tragic fashion choice of wearing like leggings underneath her prom dress.
I remember that with the terrible flats. Oh God, they were so bad. So bad.
So bad. Oh man.
Did you ever read the blog that they went through all of the Twilight books and they commented on them as they were reading them, and they did like tally marks based on the ridiculous things that happened? I read
the tally mark for the chagrin cat.
Yes, exactly.
So good.
Yeah, that was peak entertainment. Peak entertainment.
It really was. Maybe at some point, like, we'll make enough money where we can quit our day jobs and then, like, we can just podcast more for fun.
The people that I listen to, I think they have, like, 4 podcasts now, because that's, like, literally all they do. Because they made so much money.
Well, and we don't even have to... It could be Baddy Breakdowns, but this time the baddies are breaking down your favorite films.
Look at that. I would do it.
That does sound good. Okay. All right. Shall we talk about games now?
Yeah, so we can talk about video games.
I liked our intro. That felt good.
Yeah, that was good. Hi, I'm Bridget.
And I'm Maddie. Welcome to Baddy Breakdowns, where we hang out, have fun, and play games all the way to the end. Today, we're going to talk about Tactical Breach Wizards. We'll give you the breakdown from its creation to its critical reception. Then we'll take you on a deep dive into the game as we share our own experiences and opinions while playing it. We'll close with if we recommend it, who we'd recommend it to, and last but not least, our personal rating. With that, let's prevent the next world war.
I was going to say breach.
Oh, that's so much better. I'm really sucking at these lately.
I am entertained by them each time because I get a predict in my head what I think would be a good one, and then I watch you say something totally different.
And then you watch me just continuously fumble the ball. With that, let's breach. I like that.
Breach.
Okay. Breach. I have the game description. In Tactical Breach Wizards, you lead a team of renegade wizards.
Wizards.
Wizards. In Tactical Breach Wizards, you lead a team of renegade wizards in Kevlar through turn-based battles to unravel a modern conspiracy plot. Combine their unique spells in clever ways or rewind time to try every crazy plan you can think of to punch a traffic warlock through a fourth-story window. I still feel like I read that wrong, but that's okay. Those are very run-on sentences. That was 2 sentences.
I feel like the pacing of those sentences were off, but that's okay.
Okay, let me try one more time. I have game description. So here's the game description. In Tactical Breach Wizard... Wow, I can't talk. In Tactical Breach Wizards, you lead a team of renegade wizards... Bridget! What is happening? I can't talk.
I'm crying.
There's something about renegade wizards being next to each other where I want to say renegade wizard.
And in your good take, you started it like, I have the description, so here's the description.
I've forgotten how to podcast. Okay. I'm gonna try one more time.
Okay. Last take.
Oh my god. Take 20. Take 20 of game description. In Tactical Breach Wizards, you lead a team of renegade wizards in Kevlar through turn-based battles to unravel a modern conspiracy plot. Combine their unique spells in clever ways or rewind time to try every crazy plan you can think of to punch a traffic warlock through a fourth-story window.
That was mildly better.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Phew, okay. Critical reception. Bridget.
How it's made, Bridget.
Oh, that's right. I'm critical reception.
We're struggling today, you guys.
Okay. How it's made, Bridget.
God. Okay, how it's made. I did this how it's made because we were supposed to do these together in the last episode. So I reread this and I hope I can get through it in a way that makes sense, but it is a little old to me now. First off, developer, Suspicious Developments. Mm-hmm. So developer, Suspicious Developments. This game was made primarily by a person named Tom Francis. So if you're unfamiliar with Tom Francis, he made other games, such as the other 2 games in the Defenstration trilogy. So this is a game that's theoretically a part of 3 other games. I can't tell if it's an actual official term that the developer has given it, or if it's something that is more nomenclature given by fans. But the defenstration, I don't know how you pronounce that correctly, is defenstration? Yeah. For our listeners who haven't played this game, defenstration is throwing people out windows. And apparently in his games, this is a calling card of his. So Tom Francis, he actually was the game designer, the writer, and a programmer for the game, as well as the founder of Suspicious Developments. But he was not the entire sole person, I do not believe. He was a former game journalist, which I think is kind of fun and interesting.
Oh, that is fun.
Then moved over to this. I don't know if game journalism is the reason why I found a devlog on his YouTube channel that has 5 bajillion videos on it, so because he just likes to do that, or if that's just who he is. But if you are interested at all and how this game was made, the entire devlog of it. Honestly, he has a lot of fun game design videos too, which are really interesting. He has a really fun YouTube channel. This game was in development, I think, for 6.8 years is how long he had mentioned in his channels. But when he was thinking about games like Tactical Breach Wizards, these tactical games, he was thinking about these design decisions that he thought would make interesting iterations and versions or whatever of these games. And one of which was this mechanic about being able to reverse time and do it again and foresee like the future and things like that, which I feel like was super, super core to the gameplay of this one. And he really wanted that to be incorporated into like a tactical game. And he was like, wow, haha, actually, the name Tactical Breach Wizards would be an absolutely perfect name to accommodate this fantasy, magical, like future predicting version of this tactical game that he was envisioning. And so it was an old joke, and it just became the title of this game because it fits so well with the concept that he had. But I do think it's really interesting as we start talking about the gameplay itself, that the game literally was incepted in part because of that mechanic of being able to predict the future, rewind time, do it again and again and again.
Time.
Yeah. And that was like, this game I don't think would exist without that core concept coming from that design process. The other thing that I'd mention is around the comedy of the game, because the comedy is definitely out in full force in this one. Very different from the comedy style, I think, of the game we played last week, but it was still very comedic.
Definitely different, but yeah.
Yeah, he said his primary inspiration for pretty much all of his games, which do consistently have this kind of humor, is Douglas Adams, who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah.
A very dry humor, but that's still very like witty and fun.
Also British, I believe, but different.
Oh, is he?
Is he?
Is he?
The movie was British. Yeah,
But
he's an English author.
Okay, well, there you
British.
go. British humor, just a different kind. The humor I thought, though, in this game was really fun, which I know we'll get to. But that is something that's very consistent throughout his games. One of the most difficult things about writing this humorous type of content was in the middle of the game development happening. You know, the game itself centers around this detective who is working for the police force, and then you kind of, to your point, become renegade. And the development cycle took so long that in the middle of it, a lot of the police brutality things, you know, were coming up and were very, very, very big topic. And he was writing this comedy game that had a little bit to do with cops, you know. So he didn't think that, one, it was super relevant to the game at all. Like, it was a part of it, but it wasn't really, really relevant. Like, he wasn't trying to tell that story. And because...
Like, he wasn't telling a cop story. It was just convenient.
Exactly. And what he said was he wanted to make sure that if he touched on it, that it wasn't a brief touch. He wanted to give the topic space, and he just didn't feel like this game had space for a topic that big, that it deserved more space. So he really did try to avoid topics like that throughout the gameplay at all, so it's not really present in there, but it was a very active choice.
Well, and they're not police, actually.
They're not. Like, the main characters are not.
The main guy is a military guy, and then the woman is actually like a private investigator for hire.
Yeah, exactly. And so really, he was just
and
like, it just didn't feel like a part of the story.
Like, yeah.
But I just wanted to mention it because it is interesting. I didn't really think about that happening throughout the game's development, but it was something he actually called out. Side note around his comedy is that he also wanted the comedy to be in the gameplay also. And so when he was thinking about all of the different like prediction aspects of the gameplay, one of the reasons he loved it is because of the ability to create humor with the gameplay itself, which I think is true. And there's like a lot of ways that you can do this. The really fun thing that I learned around these like emergent gameplay comedy bit is they actually have a version of the game that you can buy that has gameplay commentary over the whole
Oh.
game. Yeah, which sounds really fun. And if you buy that edition, some levels have an extra item in the levels that you can use to your advantage to like throw around. So you could like kill somebody. I don't remember if it was a tape recorder or what it was. It was really funny. And I just love the idea that one, a developer commentary over this game exists at all. But two,
Yeah, that feels hard to do in a video game.
It feels hard for sure. Like, so I don't know exactly what the formatting of it is at all, but it also has an additional item to make things even funnier and have the ability to do a little bit more silly things. Very last thing, I found a Reddit user who is really interested in his marketing style, and there are two fun things about that I thought were interesting. One, I've talked about him before, but Derek Liu is somebody I follow on TikTok that makes indie trailers. He made like the one for Firewatch and whatever else. But he was the one who made the trailer for this game, which I thought was just kind of fun because I like following him. He has a lot of really good educational content for indie creators on like how to make a thing punchy.
Good trailers.
Yeah. And he has a whole video on how he made the trailer for this if people want to go watch on his YouTube. And then the second thing was the beta strategy for this game, which was they released this beta and they gave out the game like for free to, however many beta testers that they had. But the beta test version of the game that they got was only 75% of the game. And then they only gave the last 25% of the game to people who were giving the most feedback, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yes, I thought it was a great strategy, and I think probably helped people give more feedback. That's just me guessing. But I thought that was really interesting because I don't know that I've ever heard of that, but it was funny to me.
You're incentivizing people doing the playtesting for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, that's all I got. Again, there's probably 5 bajillion hours more of content if you're really, really interested. And Tom seems like a really fun guy who loves video games and is very educated in them. So if you're interested at all, he's got a lot of fun content. But yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That's it. That's what I got.
Fun. Okay. I guess I have critical reception now.
Yes.
The actual time for critical reception. So this game is overwhelmingly positive on Steam, which I don't think is a surprise for me.
No.
And it was 88 on Metacritic, 7.8 user score. And a lot of the positives from people were just witty, adventurous, really good for like challenging all levels of players. Like it's good for people who need something easier, but you can also ramp up the difficulty for yourself as well. Another reviewer really talked about how it was super refreshing and how much heart was in the game. Like you could feel the heart from the developer, which I feel like we just pick really good games and like we are picking these types of games, but you really can tell a difference. Like you just really can tell a difference when somebody like loves what they're working on. It just really matters. One scathing review was just about how it was too easy and like it was just not hard at all. Rewinding meant that you could just like figure it out perfectly, and like they hated that mechanic. And I think I texted you about that when I was creating it. Which I thought was super interesting because you were like, literally, that's like the main mechanic that the developer was interested in. Yeah. And they were like, just play XCOM. Like, this is bullshit. Like, that was what the review said. And it's go play XCOM.
God. I'm sorry that
it's just too easy to be able to rewind your bad decisions. And I'm like, but like, if I couldn't do that, I would hate it. And I wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't think I would like XCOM. I was surprised that I liked the strategy of this game at all, but it was really, really fun. And I do attribute most of that to being able to rewind.
Yeah. And so then kind of given that really interesting mix of like tactical strategy and the rewind mechanic, people who were on the mixed to negative side were just saying that it felt too, like that combination just felt too much like a puzzle game and not like a tactical strategy game.
Maybe that's why I liked it.
And maybe, so I thought that was a really interesting perspective of like, well, this is now more puzzle because you're like trying different things and trying to figure out.
Yeah.
It's like a combination, but that's actually what I really liked about it.
Me too.
So
totally.
It's interesting because I think it's totally valid that was a negative for some people.
Yeah. Especially if you love that genre and you were looking forward to something very much so in that genre, and then it doesn't feel like the same like value or skill set that you usually like get from it. I could see that. I could see it. Yeah. I don't normally play those games, so I have a hard time being like, oh yes, I immediately noticed that, but I get it.
That's just who I am as a person, as I save scum. Maybe that's cheating, but whatever.
Save scum.
I did it in Baldur's Gate 3 too.
I was really proud of myself for not save scumming in Baldur's Gate 3, except for like maybe one time.
That's truly wild.
But this was kind of fun because they built in kind of the save scumming into the actual mechanic.
Yes.
So then they could build things around it to make it fun.
And there's still an aspect of like, we'll get into it. But like there's still parts of it where it's permanent. And you're like, oh, maybe I should have done something differently. Yeah. But I didn't mind that part. But I do get how it could throw people off. So anyways, that's it.
I see that. Yep. I see that. All right. So we're to the actual game.
First impressions, Bridget.
My first impressions, I wrote down, the dialogue is fun and snarky. Because I do feel like it was like that almost immediately.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
It was.
Almost immediately.
Even the like data request thing was funny. Like, I don't have the details written out. I just have this note of like the, hey, can we collect your data thing where they're like, please give us your data. It was very funny.
Yeah.
The way they wrote it out. So I clicked, have my data.
Yeah.
Like more companies need to do that. Like, why are you not asking me for my data in a fun way? I'll give it to you.
I agree. Well, and they also had in the tutorial section more dialogue like that too when it came to tutorialiness. Like when they talk about defenstration and defenstrate, it literally, I did take a screenshot of that one where it says defenstrate the pyromancer, and then underneath it says defenstrate verb 1 throw out of a window, and that's just so funny. Like I don't know, it's just so funny.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
Mm-hmm. So I definitely right away thought that the dialogue was really fun. I thought that the style of game, I was pretty hooked right away, seeing kind of what it would look like. And I do actually feel like it just substantially kept getting better and better as the game went on and you got more skills. So I wouldn't even say the beginning, going back now, definitely was not peak gameplay for the whole game. But I was really interested right away in the kind of thing that was happening and the mixture of the fun storytelling, the little mystery you get right at the beginning, which was, you know, do you save your friend or do you save this like person dying? And then you literally cannot do both, and they will not let you just save your friend, so you have to save the other person and your friend disappears, right? It's a very fun way to pull you into the story. I don't think I was expecting that much story for a tactical game.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved how they jumped you into it. I feel the same way. My first impressions are very similar. Like right off the bat, funny vibes that I connected with. The gameplay was very hooky to me as well. It like scratches that part of my brain that I love, where it's very like Slay the Spire, where I just feel like I could jam on it for forever. Yeah. Of like just trying different things, trying the strategy. And then the story pieces were so delightful. Like I would have liked this game without that, but adding the story that had the heart and had the comedy, like I think it just kicked it off really well, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to talk about the way that they gave the story so bad, but I feel like that's for later on in the conversation, actually, after we start digging into it. But this game had such a unique way that they gave and delivered the story, and I honestly can't stop thinking about it. But
well, why don't we talk a little bit about it? Like, I think the next part is, so there's 4 acts, right?
Yeah,
4?
I think so. Yeah.
So the way this game was structured is in acts. I feel like I'm not pronouncing my words right today. And you essentially, like, the main character, there's a couple of main characters. There's 2 main characters, I guess, but the first one that you start with, and the main character, I guess, is Zan.
Yeah.
And he is a military, like tactical strategist, like expert. And so the first thing that you do, the first mission that you have is with your partner, Liv, and y'all are trying to rescue a hostage. And so kind of to what Bridget was saying with the first tutorial level, what ends up happening is at the end of it, you can either save Liv or you can save the hostage. And when you try to save Liv, it doesn't let you. Because I tried to do that.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm sure you tried to do that too, where I was like, fuck this guy. I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
But like, I've had this banter with Liv. I already like her. They're like shooting the shit. They're being funny. And then that kind of kickstarts the rest of the game, because that's kind of the beginning part, because then Liv gets captured.
Right.
And then you save the hostage. And then the game kind of goes from there, because Liv disappears. And so he's trying to, you presume that he has been trying to find her.
Yeah.
And like figure out what happened to her. Do you want to do like a little intro on like the gameplay itself? Or what do you think?
Yeah. So the actual gameplay is room by room. And in each room, you breach different entry points. And then there are like strategically pieces of furniture, there are power-ups, there are enemies, obviously, there are things like lasers or whatever else that are all set up in this grid system. And then you, as like any of the wizards, and we'll talk about all the wizards, I'm sure, here in a bit, but as any of the wizards, you have a set of skills of how you interact with this level. And those skills can be obviously like directly attacking people, but it could also be other things, like boosting your other wizard pals that are help breaching the room for you. And it's not just hostage missions. In fact, usually it's not. Usually you go in and you're trying to take out all the enemies and seal all the doors in order to get through each of the levels. And some of them have different tasks that you're supposed to do, but in general, that's really what it is. The thing, to me at least, that made it really interesting is while you're playing, you have like a round pretty much where you, as however many characters you're playing at a time, can make all of your moves. And while you're making the moves, you can predict the outcomes of the moves, because that old military character has a special power that allows you to predict the future.
Yeah, that's like Zan's. Like, each of these characters ends up having, like, their special power.
Yeah.
And Zan's special power is that he can see, like, 5 seconds into the future or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he helps you, quote unquote, see the future so you can do each round and predict what's going to happen next, which means that you can set things up. And so when you think about that character, they have a beam that pretty much annihilates anything if it steps in front of it. But you can't actually fire the beam at anything. You have to fire at an empty tile set. So you need to be able to set everything up so that eventually an enemy either walks or gets knocked into this beam. Yeah. And so you're doing things like that. The other interesting thing about the gameplay is obviously the demonstration. It's not all about knocking these characters out, because you're not actually killing the characters. You're knocking them out, and they talk about that quite a bit. But a lot of the times you are also trying to knock people out of windows, or you have a
window.
You have like a special task. All of these levels comes with special tasks to make them even harder, and very often special
that are
tasks
optional.
Yeah, they're totally optional to the level, but in my opinion, they're really, really fun. But that's kind of, I think, the gist of the gameplay is that you're trying to take out the enemies and seal all the doors for the most part. And each round you can rewind. But after you finish a round and say, no, lock me in, you cannot go back and redo that round. So it's definitely not, like, to your point, Maddie, it's not unlimited. Everything can change. It's for each round you can foresee how that's going to land until you move to the next one. And sometimes you can make mistakes in the first one. Yeah. And then it will mess up your later mistakes and you have to redo the round anyway. But it's pretty, in my opinion,
redo the
painless.
Level. Like, you have to reset the level.
Yeah, like you have to start all the way over. But I did have to do that a lot when I was trying to do the really hard stuff. But I never felt like it was a chore. It felt more like, ooh, I discovered something new that changes my strategy. So it didn't feel painful to redo it.
Yeah. I want to highlight something that you mentioned that I thought was really special about this game, which is the optional harder tasks.
Yeah.
So the way that it works is you have your main goal, which, like you said, is sealing a door or defeating all the enemies in the room. But each character that you play has optional goals that they want to accomplish in this level. And it's kind of the goals that ramp up the difficulty.
Yeah.
And then that contributes to confidence points for the character.
Oh, I forgot about the confidence points.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was so clever as a way to optionally make the game harder.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, oh, you get more money that impacts this things. Like, you're gaining confidence points with the character that you then redeem for outfits.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was brilliant because there's still an achievement aspect of like, I'm getting points and I'm getting outfits.
Yeah.
And like, that's fun. But it's not like, oh no, I'm missing out on a weapon that I can't afford because I didn't do this thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was really clever. And that's another way that they snuck in some humor is with the
confidence points. It was so cute. It was
with the
so
confidence
cute.
points. So for example, like you would go in and Zan would be like, oh, I just want to make sure nobody gets hurt. Like he always had that as to like one of his, that was a very common one of his. And then Jen, who we'll talk about in a second, as she gets introduced really early on, she really hates the traffic warlock that was mentioned in the game description. And so anytime he's in the level, like her confidence point is like launch traffic warlock out the window.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was a really clever way to ramp up the difficulty.
Yeah.
And then it gave you this loop of like, okay, I could just finish this level, or I could try to do all of the things.
Yeah.
And that just was like very like my brain was just like very into that. Like I think I played this game for a lot longer than How Long to Beat has because I was trying to go for the confidence points each time. Yeah.
Yeah. I also thought that they found humor in the way that they gave you the outfits for the confidence points, because normally in pretty much every video game that I've ever played, you use points to purchase the items so that you would have them. And they made it very clear in a very jokey way that you already own all of these outfits. You just have to be more confident to pull them off. And that was
which is amazing. It's so
funny.
Good.
I was like, what
It's
a
just so
hilarious way to do
clever.
that. Yeah, it was really funny. And I didn't realize that right away that that's what was happening. And then they had like a fun one-liner that I had missed. And then I'd read it and I'm like, that is so funny. It's so funny.
So TLDR Act 1, you meet Jen, who is a private investigator, and you are at a police precinct that is getting raided, essentially. And kind of one of the things that Jen is trying to figure out is why a doctor has killed someone as part of her private investigator job. And the doctor got arrested for murder and was at the police precinct. And so the whole goal that Jen was trying to do was, I need to find out why this doctor just killed someone in front of me and then left like wild. And so she's trying to do that. And then she runs into Zan, the person that we know and like have been with from the tutorial. And he's there because he heard that his old partner, Liv, had something to do with the current invasion of the police precinct. Mm-hmm. And so he's also trying to figure out like what happened there. And you get the impression that Jen and Zan know each other from like previous military stuff, but Jen is much younger than him. Mm-hmm. And he is older. So then they're working together because they're both trying to get to this, character that murdered someone and try to figure out like what's going on, because Zan knows that Liv is up to something bad, but doesn't know what. And also is like, why? Because he knows her as his like old partner, not as like some evil mastermind. And so once they finally get there, they see the doctor character and then she gets kidnapped, I believe.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the end of Act 1. The last little bit that I didn't mention about Act 1 is the very end of it is you do find like all of this mana that they
Mana, that's
set
what it's
on
called.
fire.
Yes, okay.
And you're like, why are they setting this on fire? And the traffic warlock is there, and that's when you get like the first beef with the traffic warlock between Jen and him.
Yeah.
That's very funny. And so so something has to do, like Liv is obviously having some sketchy stuff to do with mana. That's what you really figure out.
Yeah.
And they kidnapped Banks, and
For some reason.
And you don't know why. Or sorry, this doctor. You don't know the character's name yet. But the character's name is Banks. And then Act 2 kicks off, and it's called Extraction.
Okay.
And the main goal of Act 2 is rescuing Banks, because you're trying to figure out what the F is going on. And like, why did Banks kill this guy? And then Zan is like, why is Liv interested in Banks? Like, why is Liv so interested in this person?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then you go through like the extraction levels, and then the ending of Act 2 is rescuing the character Banks, and she fucking rules. Like, she's awesome.
Is it a she? I don't know why in my head I had Banks as a he.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Girl,
I don't
like
think
the sexy necromancer is a boy. Incorrect.
I feel like between Act 1 and Act 2, you start to get how they are relaying this story to you, because it's not all just in the really funny dialogue. A lot of it is between the two people, or however many people, as they go to breach the doorways, because they'll stand next to each other and chit-chat before they decide to breach. It's very fun. But then they do have cutscenes afterwards where they give a little of that. But the actual interesting part that I can't decide how I feel about it, I'm really curious your thoughts, is there are cutscenes that go deeper into each individual relationships of people. They are very responsive to the immediate events that are happening, but they are entirely optional. You can choose to continue your gameplay, or you can take a second to go watch these additional cutscenes that give you more flavor to the story. And I am so curious on how you felt about those, because at first, I was like, wow, this is really nice, because I can just skip on by and I don't have to read anything. But the dialogue and the characters are so fun that I wanted all of those scenes. And there were some scenes that I accidentally missed out of time sync, because I didn't notice that they were new ones until I was onto a different part of the journey. And so it was weird, because I wanted to watch them. So I did watch them as soon as I noticed them. But sometimes they were like, oh, that's literally like 2 or 3 levels behind where I'm at right now. So I'm really curious. How did you feel about that? Did it feel good to you? Like, I don't know. I'm curious.
Well, it felt good to me because I pretty much did them the second I saw them.
Oh, okay. So you didn't miss
Because that's who I am. Yes, I didn't miss any. Okay. I'm a dialogue gal.
Yeah.
So I was just eating the story up. I was yum, yum, yum. I do like how they did that, though, because I think it's if you can do it, it's a very clever way to give people who are like, oh, I just want to do the tactical stuff, like let them keep jamming.
Yeah.
And then if people are more interested in the characters in the story, like, here you go. Mm-hmm. That's pretty clever. And I haven't seen that done.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
A lot.
Maybe we've missed it, but yeah.
I haven't seen it done a lot. I feel like maybe if I had to, I could probably try to think of something that's similar, but I really liked it. And to their point, like, one of the things that they mentioned is like, you aren't gonna not know what's happening, and that's true. You just aren't going to know the characters as deep as you could have.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I don't even think those, so the ones that I missed and were out of order, I don't think at all impacted the main storyline. They were definitely more
it's like adding flavor.
Yeah. I think for me, it just felt weird because I wanted to do the thing that you did, and I just missed them because I had a lot of red dots on my screen, because they also had special like dream levels and additional things that you could do for your characters to get to know them and their like inner fears and insecurities. But there was a ton of optional content that wasn't just the main storyline. And so I think I got lost in a lot of the, for lack of a better term, like red dots, the things that I hadn't done yet. And I didn't even realize that I had ones that I hadn't done, because I was actually looking for those. And so it was kind of, I was mixed on it, mostly because I did appreciate the option to fast forward and not spend time in it. And I didn't do the dream sequences right away. I did some of those later, but I did finish all of them. I just did them a little later for a few because I was really interested in what was going on. And I was like, get me out of this freaking dream. Like, what are you talking about? So I did appreciate that kind of flexibility. I wish I would have got a more visible, like, notification that so-and-so wanted to talk to you or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they did have a notification, but to your point, if you were lost in like the dots.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
if
there
you
was
weren't
a
keeping
dot.
up with it.
There was a dot like on the actual thing. I just didn't catch that when I was doing all the other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the other things I want to talk about that I thought was really clever as a way to like help, you know, create the characterization is in between acts 1 and 2 as well. I can't remember which one exactly it is. You get introduced to the concept of anxiety dreams, and each character ends up having an anxiety dream. And it's just about their anxieties, and it's essentially they're breaching a dream scenario, like tactical scenario, with themselves. And so they're confronting themselves.
Yeah.
And they just have these like very funny like dialogues of like, why are you doing this? And it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm just your subconscious. Like, why
you
are
brought
you doing
me here? What
you
are you
know?
talking about?
Yeah. And I thought it was very funny. And one of the things I want to point out that I thought I took a note on was in Jen's anxiety dream. She was talking about how she doesn't feel like she's good enough compared to some of the other characters.
Yeah.
And then in it, like, fourth wall breaks and it says, and like her says that in playtesting, Jen was the favorite character like 60% of the time.
I forgot
and so
about
she
that.
was like the favorite character for the majority of playtesters, which was really funny and
That's
like
so
very
cute.
clever.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just loved all of these like little delightful moments that they really like mixed story into the gameplay so
yeah, they really
well.
did. Yeah. Yeah.
And like this characterization, and it was really character focused. And I think that's what I really liked about it. And so then at the end of Act 2, you get apparently both of our favorite characters.
Yeah.
Which is Banks, even though you sexist and thought Banks was a man.
I'll be honest.
I don't know why.
No, Banks's character art reminds me of like the way that they portray Japanese males.
Sure, but like,
and I don't
or sexy lesbian. Excuse me.
Clearly,
literally, that's what she is. She is literally sexy necromancer lesbian.
In my head, they were a Japanese male. That's just who, because they had like the silver hair, which I always like reference with that like style of anime, and it had the really fun wild hairstyles, which I also reference with that. And so in my head, that's who they were. And Banks is not a gender name. I do not know how to place a Banks, and so to me, that's who they were. But I don't honestly know that I thought too much about it, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay. Well, I thought about it because I was like here for it. And like her crush on Jen.
That was the cutest little storyline. I really loved it. We'll get there. But I also think that Banks' powers were also really, really fun. And like the story itself.
Absolutely ruled. So once you rescue Banks, you realize that her power is being able to murder someone and then bring them back to life right after.
It's so cool.
So she's a necromancer,
cool.
But the only way her powers work is if the person that she brings back to life is fully dead.
Yeah.
Like they have to fully be dead, and then she can bring them back to life.
Yeah.
And so why you realize Liv had kidnapped Banks is because Liv has some sort of illness and was forcing Banks to murder and revive her over and over again.
Yeah. Well, and it's sad too, because I think very early on we learn that Banks also has an illness. And so it's kind of like this really sad mixture of she can save all these people in a really kind of hilarious way of having to shoot them, point blank to be able to revive them, but also just knowing that she can't do that for herself, I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
really...
That was really interesting. And it was also like a very mysterious, it was just like chronic illness that eventually will like sneak up on her and be terminal. But like there wasn't a timeline associated with it. So it was kind of just this like mysterious, like kind of illness. And to your point, like it was very much kind of, I mean, that's the tragedy of her character, right?
Yeah. Well, then also you realize very quickly after this power, because Zan dies, right, at the end of Act 2, and they die because Banks shoots, right? Shoots
them.
Yeah. And you're like, fuck. But then they realive and they're just there at the beginning of Act 3. And you're like, oh. And then it becomes very clear.
And they had been dying. So to be clear, they had been dying because they had gotten poisoned. Yeah. And then at the very end, Banks shoots them point blank to Bridget's point and then revives them.
Yeah. And it's just such a fun twist. And then it connected the beginning twist where you're like, why the F would a doctor just like murder this person on the spot?
This guy.
And the answer is because like she was going to revive them afterwards, but then she didn't get the chance because she was arrested. It's a really, I don't know. I thought her power, I think some of the later characters too had one of them. I also really liked their storyline, but this one was just so woven like well through the whole thing. Like the mystery at the beginning becomes really obvious then at that point. And to your point with all the anxiety dreams, you get a lot of the like depth of the character. So I don't know. It was just really fun. And then the powers are really fun too. Of Banks.
They were super fun.
Yeah.
I loved her. And so then this kind of the next part of the story is Liv has escaped again, right? Yeah. Like and then Zan is like, well, Banks, do you want to join our trio and like try to like get Liv?
She's like, fuck Liv.
Yeah, fuck that person. She kidnapped me and like forced me to kill her and revive her over and over again, right? So like, yeah, I'm in. Let's go find her and murder her. Yeah. And the next act is set in this country that the one thing I didn't mention is Jen is very good at tracking people. Oh, so yes. That's like her like witchy power is she like scries or whatever it's called, right? And like knows where people are.
Yes. And I realized that we haven't talked about the murder board yet.
Yes, we have not. So let's talk about the murder board. This is a great transition to talk about the murder board. Yeah. Which is absolutely miserable on a handheld.
Oh, yeah. The worst. The literal worst.
The absolute worst.
Yes. But the idea and concept of it was very cute. But the execution on a controller was absolutely miserable. But it was your typical murder board, pretty much, Post-its in places. It did have additional story on it, which I thought was nice.
At this point, what you're trying to figure out is what the fuck is Liv doing?
Yeah.
What is she doing? Yeah. It's not good. And then you also get this impression that Zan, sometimes his powers, so typically he only gets to see 5 seconds into the future. Yeah. But sometimes his powers like go buck wild and he like gets a flash of like multiple years in the future. Yeah. And so he knows that at some point, multiple years in the future, he's gotten this flash of like this like world war. And he's like, I think that Liv is trying to incite this world war and I need to stop her. And so, but you don't know what the fuck she's doing. You're like, because you have this huge gap because that's all he got, right? Yeah. All he got was the end result, not anything in between there.
Yeah. And I think because they frame Jen as a detective, private investigator, the idea of pulling in a murder board was fun. They also make fun of Jen for being so organized and wanting to put everything on the board. So even though you're getting like little story bits on the board and like it's helping connect the dots for you for the story if you haven't really been paying attention, which I found really helpful, they also had a cute comedic commentary on it sometimes. Yes. So like when a new person joins your party, they always made a little post-it for them that said, oh, they're joining the party. And then you drag them to put them in your little party on the post-it board, and the people who are being added to the board will make little comments on the fact that Jen has the stupid board that they're putting stuff on. It's just all of it was characterization of the individuals throughout all of it, which I thought was very unique.
Yeah, and then also just a nice, to your point, a nice way to keep track of what's happening.
Yeah, it did help me.
Even though on a handheld it was trash and it didn't help me. because I was paying attention to the story anyways. And there is one point where it was so atrocious. I turned on my high-powered gaming PC, logged onto this thing that stays off like most days of the week. And I turned it on. I logged on. I waited for everything to load up. I downloaded the game. And then I launched it, and I did the murder board. I saved, I exited, I went back to my handheld. I turned my computer off.
Oh my god. Well,
I literally only did it just to do the fucking murder board because it was so miserable on the handheld. Like, literally impossible at one point.
I never had to go that length, but I had to use touch a lot. And I feel like when you're reduced to
the touch controls were not working.
Oh, okay. They worked for me, but they didn't work well. Like, what I had to do was I had to, like, awkwardly touch to get it to select the thing. And then I had to use my controller again to move the thing. And then sometimes it wouldn't move to the right place. So then I'd have to redo it. And there was no way to undo it. And so then I'd have to sit there and, like, click around, like, with my finger to hopefully hit the right touch point for it to be able to register the fact that I clicked on it. I don't know. It was a mess. I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this game, obviously, but like
controllers,
was not very handheld optimized. Yeah.
Yes, controller optimized definitely was not there. I did do the murder board, so I played this game partially on my laptop and then partially on my handheld, and the murder board worked totally flawlessly on a mouse and keyboard, which is what you'd expect.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Act 3.
Act 3. So essentially you follow Liv to this dictatorship religious country that she's in, and you're like, why the fuck is she in this country?
It was weird.
Weird. And then you kind of go on this side quest because essentially you're like trying to figure out why is she here. You go there and then you meet a new character because the country that you go to is like the country of fucking tanks. And you're like, I can't survive. And then this new character, Doll, comes in and saves you. And you learn that Doll is one of the people who is like helping lead the resistance movement in this like hyper religious dictatorship country. And the other like background politics of this country is that the religious leaders have convinced the general population that normal people don't have magic.
Yeah.
And the only people that have magic are like the religious like chosen ones.
Leaders. Yeah. Yeah.
And like, which is pretty fucked up because anyone can be magical in this. Like, anyone can be magical. Like, that's the whole thing of this game. It's like anybody could do it. And so then you kind of go on this like side quest to help the resistance, which is not super related to your main quest.
Yeah.
And that's actually pointed out by Banks, who's like not bought into the side quest.
Yeah.
She's like, why are we doing this?
This is pointless. This is a waste of time.
Yes. But you do get like roped into it, and the reason you get roped into it is to help Doll. She asks, she's like, hey, can you please help? And then I'll help you. It's like kind of this tit for tat thing, right? Yeah. And so you help get the main goal is that the chapel.
Yeah, I think it was a chapel. It was at least a religious building.
Yeah, but like the religious leader, whatever he's called, the chaplain.
The chaplain.
Girl, I was not a religious Midwest girly. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We didn't have chaplains in our religion. It's just chaplain. That's just the name of it. It's okay. Keep going.
Chaplains? That's how you say that word?
Yeah, chaplain.
Chaplain?
Mm-hmm. The A-I-N is
A-I.
I know, but that's just chaplains. I don't know. That's just how you say it.
Okay. Learn something new
Unless that's just how you say it in Indiana. And everyone else is like, ooh, Bridget. But you know what? I don't care. Screw you guys.
Hey, I'm learning something new. So the chaplain got recorded admitting that they're full of shit.
Yeah. Which I love. Love that for them.
People can, like, it's not just the religious leaders that can be magic, and they can't actually talk to the dead. That's the other thing that they hold over this population.
Right. I forgot about that.
They're like, we have this special spiritual connection to people that have passed on, and you can talk to them through us. And that has like totally helped brainwash the masses. Can you imagine if you were fully convinced that somebody could talk to your like past relatives? Like, the power that would have over people. So it's very understandable. And I thought it was really interesting, like this like little political storyline that they created here. But the resistance wants to get the recording from the chapel of the chaplain saying these things and admitting these things so that they can broadcast it to the masses to help boost the resistance movement. And so then the end of this kind of act is doing that.
Yeah.
How
did you feel about Doll's character? So like Doll, we kind of mentioned it, but this whole land was the land of tanks, and Doll was very much so a tank. So running around, body slamming, that kind of thing as their powers. But I felt like their powers were one of my favorites that escalated quite a bit. We didn't talk about like the upgrade system yet, but you can upgrade the powers for all of the different characters. And you have a limited set of points, but they get you upgrades for almost everything. And then you get upgrades when you finish the anxiety dreams. But I felt like Dolls at first, I was like, oh, this is just okay. But when you ended up unlocking all of the high levels of her stuff, it got to be really, really good. And I thought the gameplay was really fun because you could start like, you had this like riot block that you could throw so that you could slam people into walls, even when there wasn't a wall there. But then you started to be able to trade places with pretty much anybody, and then including your riot block. And so you can just throw the block wherever, and then you're just like, I'm over there now. I don't know. I thought that her character power started off mid, and then they ended up one of my favorites. I really enjoyed it. I don't know.
I don't think I liked her as much as you, but I did really like her. And to your point, I really liked how her powers ramped up, because I agree. She started really, really mid for me.
Yeah.
And I still don't think she ever made it to be like one of my favorites.
She wasn't number one. No. Yeah.
Banks was always my number one since I got her, because like I loved the like Death's Door.
Yes,
mechanic.
The Death's Door was so fun in combination with
Jen.
Yeah, like shoving them into that
their
really
powers were so synergistic.
They were.
It was great.
Yeah.
So I think that combo was my favorite, Jen and Banks, but I do really like what they did with her character with like the swapping.
Yeah.
That was very, very powerful. And it ended up creating these super clever moments of like setting up the bad guys to kill themselves because you swap places and then they like kill the
No, I didn't realize. So in the anxiety dream for Dole, she goes through, and you actually have a version of her that has unlocked every single bit of all of her superpower stuff. And I didn't realize how good the character was until I played that anxiety dream. And I was like, oh crap, like there's so much that you can do. And I think before that moment, I was pretty like, yeah, you slam into stuff, congratulations, like, okay, it's very powerful for the right enemy, but you needed the right enemy, and you had to line it up just perfectly. But I do think after I saw the anxiety dream and then started investing more into her stuff, to your point, there were a lot of really creative solutions that you could find because of the different abilities she had. Like, they were very creative. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I really liked it too. So
the
other thing that happens at the end of Act 3 that is pertinent is Liv shoots one of her men. And that's kind of what also happens at the end. And like, you're like, why is Liv here in the first place with this chaplain? Why is she getting involved? And then why is she murdering her own people? So then Banks revives him because Liv had just murdered him and bounced to the next place. And then that's our last character, and his name's Ryan.
Just Ryan?
It's R-I-O-N.
Oh, Ryan. Okay. Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that written down.
Yeah.
And
I do think
he's the last character, and he's like kind of like poison assassin is his thing.
/ dog. He can like turn into a dog.
And I could not figure out the dog powers.
Oh, really?
I'm stupid.
Oh.
I guess I figured them out. Like, you bite somebody and then they attack whoever's closest to them, even if it's not, like, even if it's somebody that's on their side.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if I fully found it worth it because often I was the closest person to them.
I feel like I actually, number one with fun strategy, I think was Banks for me, but I think actually number two was Ryan for me.
Really?
I used his powers all the time. I really, really liked them.
I'm such the opposite. Interesting.
Yeah, I really, really liked it because, so for me, the way that I had set everything up is I usually either wasn't the closest or I could use swap to get things to where I needed them to be. And I felt like with his powers, I ended up getting a lot more moves and distance because as a dog, he could move way farther and then he could bite and then that thing could attack somebody else. And so I used a lot of his stuff just in general. Like, I don't know. I really liked his stuff. And I really liked his story too, because it was such a fun twist. I don't know if we want to talk about it yet or not.
Yeah, talk about it.
So,
we're in Act 3, baby.
You're right. We're in
There's
Act 3.
There's only one more act.
We're in Act 3. So his anxiety dream is he shows up and he's with a dog and he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then the dog is like, bark, you know? And you can't really understand what it's saying, although later in the anxiety dream, he starts speaking English and you're like, oh, okay, I do get it. And throughout the whole thing, you're learning the story about how he grew up and he was like abused and nobody wanted him and all of this really, honestly, very devastating things to hear. And then you realize that he was a dog and his like abuse and anger, because like what they talk about is like, you were so angry. Why would you turn into a dog as like your unlocking moment? Because dogs like don't feel any like feelings like that. They're usually really happy. Like, why would you turn into a dog? And he was like, no. And so he was actually a dog and he felt so much anger as a dog that he turned into a human and became a human that was just angry. And I don't know why. I just loved it. It was such a whiplash for me. I was like, oh my God, he was the dog. And then I got really extra sad because the whole thing he was talking about, I was imagining, obviously children are very sad in this situation, but like that's what I was imagining. And then you had to relive it all over again, but for a dog the second time. So they made you like experience it twice. And so it felt almost twice as like sad and powerful because you felt it both ways. And so I really liked his character. Apparently not enough to write down his name Ryan, so that's my bad, but I actually really liked it. But I will agree, at the beginning, the dog stuff I didn't use as often as just like the poison things that I found useful.
The poison stacking.
Yeah, but once I started to use the dog more, I found more ways to use it and I really liked it.
Yeah. I don't feel like I used him enough. And this is why it's like, I feel like this game is very ripe for replays.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
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 So let's get into Act 4 because Act 4 is just like, now everybody's on your side. You've got your whole crew. Mm-hmm. You have Jen, Zan, Banks, Doll, and Ryan. Mm-hmm. And you're just trying to get Liv because at this point what you've put together is the reason that Liv went into this dictatorship country is because they were planning to invade this last country called Medial, probably. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm just going to say Medial. And they have all of the mana. And mana is what powers magic. Yeah. And, or like, it can power magic outside of like innate magic.
It can be like they huff it like cocaine and then they get magic.
It's essentially magic drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the world powers want to control the oil.
Obviously.
Right? Like, let's just use that, right? It's the oil. It's the fucking oil
of
this world, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's this tiny country that's sitting on bukus of oil, and all of the world powers
really need this
poor
oil.
Country.
Yeah.
And so then finally you figure out, okay, Liv is trying to get the mana in this country and like steal it and like control it for this billionaire. Mm-hmm. And that's like the last kind of piece of the puzzle that you put together. Is like this billionaire wants it because he's like, government can't do it. I'm going to do it because private sector can do it better.
Yeah.
Very, very real. Very, very
Too real, almost.
too real.
Yeah, the last bit of Act 3 is Zan goes to meet Liv and try to reason with her. He feels like they're old friends. He remembers that he has her phone number, which is also hilarious.
Hilarious.
They could have called her the whole time. I don't know. It's so funny. And they go to the church to have this confrontation, in which it becomes clear that Liv is definitely not the Liv that he worked with. You know, she's got a bunch of opinions now, but also she clearly still at least has something familiar for him because she doesn't kill him. But she does tell him as they're about to leave that she has killed literally everyone else in the party. So all of the people we've collected thus far, all of them are dead. And then you flash back in time to play as those characters as they all die. And
that part was so good.
it was so good because the plot twist was just amazing. How long did it take you to figure out? Like, was it right away for you? Like,
no, it wasn't right away. So essentially the Jen is like, okay, so somehow Banks has to survive this encounter.
yes.
And the thing that we haven't really gone into is Liv is like the most insane super soldier.
Yeah.
Like,
moves her superpower even before all of this was moving really, really fast, like on a different time plane than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's even more powerful now, and like just no one can really compete against her, like literally no one. And so they know that they're about to die. And then Jen is like, if we somehow figure out how to save Banks, Banks can then revive us after we all die in this encounter, right? And so then you're like, the goal of that level is how do we get Banks to survive?
Yeah.
And it took me a little bit, like I think, I don't know, it took me a bit to bake. And then I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Death's Door.
Yes, it was so
because
fun.
Death's Door is Banks. Like, this has been my favorite move. Banks essentially has this move called Death's Door where you can put a door behind anyone that's against a wall, and then you can push them through it and they go away.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it. Oh.
I have no idea what they're being pushed into. It's called Death's Door.
So it feels pretty bad.
So feels pretty bad, but like, bye, later. And I had been using it constantly because Jen has this like chain knockback move. And so what you can do is you can set up to 2 doors, and then if you have windows too, you can like
knock them
chain
all.
like knock people into a door, knock people into a window, knock people into a door. It was like really satisfying. And so then you knock Banks into her own Death's Door.
Yeah. And then you get her anxiety dream, which is,
and then you get her
has one of the cutest moments ever when, I don't know what you answered or how it changes, but when you say, like, in the anxiety dream for Banks, once she goes through the door, she talks about with, like, of course, she sees herself like everybody else did. And other Banks is from the past, I think. Like, it's a past Banks. And she's like, how'd you get here? And you can say what happened. And it just so happened that I had Jen push Banks through the door. And so I was like, oh, Jen pushed me. And then the other person was like, the other you was like, oh, so it's a crush then.
Yes, I got that same dialogue, yeah.
And then Banks is like, no, nemesis adjacent. And I was like, ooh.
This is when you start to get the, like,
it's so cute,
Jen Banks chemistry.
It was
shipping.
Cute. It was cute. I really, really liked it. And then, of course, you know, Banks survives, makes it through Death's Door, and revives everybody, which I thought was just delightful. What a delightful way to do that.
Also, like, fuck you, Liv. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that was a big miss on her part because she was like, where's the doctor that revives people?
Right? Exactly. I feel like I would have killed that one first, personally. Yeah.
So anyways, that's like a big, that's the last of your act 3.
Yeah.
And so then act 4 is when you put everything together.
Yeah. When we got to this final level, I knew it was the end. Like, they make it really clear that this is the ultimate, like,
it's very
battle.
clear. It's the big bad.
It is. And I was in bed and it was probably midnight. And I was like, I'm just going to finish this final battle before I go to sleep because it's the final battle. And it turns out that it took me about 45 minutes per level to like beat this thing because they had, I think the middle level was probably the easiest, which is the one that you do first with Jen and Doll dropping the mana down. Yeah. But then the bottom level one where you're trying to set the mana on fire, I was trying really, really hard to do it with all the extra stuff. And I kept dying over and over and over again. And at the end of that level, you have to use your special, like, what is it? Like recall? Like you zoom
You
away.
actually have to teleport.
Yes, teleport. That's what it is. Yeah, you like teleport away. But it turns out that you can't teleport away in like certain instances, and you can only teleport one person per turn. And so I had set everything up thinking I could then teleport everybody the next time, but knowing that death was very imminently waiting for me the move after that. And then I was like, crap, I can just teleport one person. So I definitely futzed around a lot on that bottom level. And then the top one, we should definitely talk about that top level because the fighting of Liv was super unique. Yeah,
the very final battle with Liv was so unique.
Yeah.
Because her main power is that she creates copies of herself.
Yeah.
So you kill her and a copy spawns from her.
Who's stronger and better.
And she's stronger and better. And so, like, you have to go through, like, all of her, like, reserved copies, which is, like, 9 lives, like, cat-like, I guess.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought was very clever is that your teammates ping in the order that you ping them out.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that part was also very clever because in that bottom level, you have everyone else except for Zan, and then you're like getting them out of there, and then when you finally go to the Zan battle, they come in the order that you pinged them out in.
I didn't notice that. That's so
it
cute.
Just happened to be that way for mine.
No, I think
I'm not
it is.
Sure.
Like remembering vaguely at least who went last and first. I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I just thought was a really like magical little moment of like continuity in a way that was very clever. And it was just really hard because the hard part was that she could also switch places with anybody.
After you pick the move.
After you pick the move. So you could like try to body slam someone and then she would switch places with a teammate and then you would body slam the wrong person off the fucking roof.
Yeah. This one was one of the ones where I felt like the additional challenges actually helped me solve the puzzle because I was having a really hard time figuring out how to wound Liv like at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it was so hard. And then looking at the challenges, it was like, oh, injure them using X. And I'm like, okay, how would I do that? How would I do it? And I tried not to rely, like the one that was the most obvious was Zan's like laser that sits in a place and you can do shenanigans, like you can figure that out. Great. But then when I was sitting here, I was trying to figure out like how I do it with Bank's Death's Door. And I'm like, how do you do that? Because you can't push them. So how would you get them there? I don't know. It was a really creative. That one was definitely very puzzly. Very puzzly.
Yeah. Very puzzly. Mm-hmm. And then the last, after you beat Liv, the last kind of decision that you make is whether you keep her alive or not. That's kind of Bank's decision because you kill her. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, Banks, do you revive her so that she can like face trial?
Yeah.
Or do you let her stay dead? Which one did you pick?
I think I revived her. Is that what I did?
I revived her.
I think I revived her. Yeah.
So
can you even let her stay dead?
Stand trial. But that was one of the options. I don't know. I have to go see this is the replayability potential.
Well, and I would also say you probably can let her stay dead because afterwards they have all of the epilogue, and the epilogue you can actually make choices on what they do, and it shows things based on that, and there's like no pushback at all. So probably the whole ending can be different. Yeah. But no, I'm pretty sure I'd let her live because that's what Jen wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then exactly. That's why I did it. Okay, and then you get your epilogue, which was also so cute.
So
you get to choose what these characters do.
Yes.
So, of course, Jen and Banks were making a little agency
Yes, a
together.
little agency, of course.
Because Jen and Banks forever.
If anyone didn't pick that, I am just absolutely devastated. Like, please.
And then I really wanted to kill that CEO. I was like, no billionaires exist in my fantasy world.
Oh, I killed a chaplain. Mostly, I think because, I mean, probably based on how I grew up, I was like, this guy's going to cause problems. I was like, I went that route. But
I was really torn about that one.
I wanted both of them dead.
I was so torn, but I was
Yeah.
like, I gotta murder this billionaire.
Did you do it together with Doll and Rio, or did you let Rio
No. I had them split.
Oh, okay, I had them go together and do it because I didn't want Rio and Doll to be alone again. I don't know, it felt sad. Oh, so I put them together.
I had Doll be on the front lines because it was like she could also be like strategic.
Yeah.
So I had her be on the front lines because I felt like that.
That's
fit
what I
her
did.
character better.
Yeah.
And then I had
And then
Ryan,
yeah.
go assassinate
kill
the
the
billionaire.
Yeah. They both needed to die, and I'd like to imagine in a perfect universe, Rio.
They both did.
Yeah, Ryan just goes and kills.
Or Rian, probably
whatever.
French.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's a good point.
And then I had Zan retire with his
yes,
mom.
to make bread.
Yeah. So cute. It's funny that we're like picking mostly the same things. And then the Steve Clark one was just hilarious. Like the traffic warlock, like you had like a little bit for him too. So
Yeah.
very cute way to like cap off the game.
Absolutely. I also feel like Zan really needed to retire. Like he deserved that. After all that, like he deserved
Definitely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to get him back in there.
No. Just
Let
go
him
bake
enjoy
bread.
his,
and his
like-
mom was so cute too.
Yes,
the whole time you like visit their little house and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know we were having guests." I don't know.
Yeah. And then the very last photograph is all of them visiting him on the beach.
Yeah. And then even the commentary on that is funny because in the game they're literally like, somebody made this photo and we loved it, but it didn't fit in any of the actual games, so here it is.
It was very fun.
Also, I can't remember, did they actually say it, but like tactical beach wizards, did they say that at all on that photo, or did I make that up in my head?
I don't know. Maybe you just made that up.
It was cute.
But very clever.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Okay. Should we
And
wrap
that's the
up our
game.
thoughts?
Yeah.
That's the game.
Woo!
Yay! It was so
we
fun.
did it. It was really fun. Well, yeah, I think for me, obviously, it'd be a highly recommend. It was really, really good. I didn't have expectations going in, except I think Maddie had already been playing it for I don't know how many hours and had really liked it. So I guess I had positive.
And you still finished this shit before me.
Well, but I didn't 100% all the levels. I 100%ed like the easy ones, and then I tried, and if I failed a couple times, I just kept going. But I did really enjoy it. I think the replayability is super high. Even in the levels that you already beat, there are other creative solutions. I'm sure you could figure out how to do that. And then, like we talked about, there's so much optional content and optional levels you could go back to do again. And you can actually, even when you go back to play levels, you can pick different characters to do those levels.
Yeah.
So even more replayability in that sense also. The comedy was really fun. The way that they spent every single moment of the game characterizing and creating depth for characters in this supposedly just little tactical game, which I feel like, I don't know, it's just cool. And they really did give so much depth to characters that I feel like could have very easily just been, you know, like surface level. I don't know. I really enjoyed that. So overall, really great game, minus some mechanical issues, of course, but absolutely loved it. I would recommend it to probably anybody if you like puzzles. It was definitely very puzzly. Let's see, what rating would I give it? Ooh, I think I'd like to give it a 4.5 out of 5, but I think I might it's better than a 4 out of 5. Is it a 5 out of 5? Okay, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. And I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Let's say a 5 out of 5. No, I was going to make a joke about chaplains, but I won't. Let's say Jen's, so that she can feel loved again.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, Maddie,
I also really loved this game. It's probably one of my favorite games I've played this year, if not my favorite game that I've played this year, and I might be like forgetting something I've played, but I really, really liked this one.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely recommend it for anyone, especially if you're like a PC player. I would especially say that.
Yeah.
Not to say that if you only have a handheld, like pick it up, like for sure still pick it up and play it, but just I don't think it's as accessible in that format, I guess.
Yeah.
Like from like a gameplay, like a controller perspective. And I still loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was a 5 out of 5 for me. So I will give it a 5 out of 5. Banks, my favorite gal. Really liked her character. Maybe have a crush on her. She's fake, but still.
People have crush on fiction. Have you seen those TikToks where they're like, hear me out is what it is, and then they give yeah. I just feel like you put her on a little stick and
I saw this like the origin of bisexuals TikTok, which is like the goth girl in Danny Phantom.
Yes, actually though. And Shigo from Kim Possible, those two had it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, I really liked this. I really liked this game.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm glad that we picked it up.
Me too. Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and rate it. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Baddy Breakdowns, and visit our website, baddybreakdowns.com, made by Bridget. The podcast art was done by the wonderful Tanisha Vernikar, and the podcast was edited by me, and I also made our theme song. Join us next time to hear us two baddies break down Life is Strange. So we're playing one before the next one comes out soon at the end of October. And I'm very excited. I've never played this game. Bridget has played it, but I've never played it.
We may or may not have Maddie live stream it also so that I can heckle her based on the choices she makes. Yay! Live.
It's very much apparently a Choices Matter game.
It is, and I stress out every single time they pop up on the screen, but I don't know. Ooh, I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
I just love watching people play it. So
yeah.
Fun.
Fun.
Okay.
Bye.